Ever wonder what tech leaders would say if they had no prep and no redos?
Welcome to Humans of Tech. I'm Caroline.
And I'm Kelly. We're keeping humans at the center of technology through quick, authentic conversations with people shaping the industry.
Got three rules: no prep, no editing, and one live random question our guest never sees coming.
All right. So today's guest for Humans of Tech is George Finney. He is co-chair of CISO. He is the CISO of University of Texas School Systems. And he is the CEO of Well Aware Society and best-selling author. So a man with many, many trades and many passions. We are so excited to have George on today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Why did you say yes to coming on to Humans of Tech?
Well, I'm a professional author in addition to my day job. So, a lot of the podcasts that I go on is really to help, kind of educate the community. And then that's why I write books is really to bring my passion for writing to cyber and to be able to give back to the community. And, I always love talking to folks to help get the word out about so many of the important things that we're doing in cyber. Again, I think it's my way of giving back.
I love it. Awesome. All right. Well, we have a bowl of random questions.
You actually have a random bowl of questions. That's
Oh
amazing.
yeah, yes.
A real random book. And I don't know how much you're going to teach us about cyber today, though. We're going to learn from your experiences, I think.
Okay. Here we go.
Ooh. How has your definition of success changed over time?
That is a really interesting question. I would say when I started out my career, I've been working for about 30 years, actually over since I, got my first job as a kid, working at Six Flags here in Texas. Um, I think there's always been, the financial component to having a job, right? You need to pay the bills, you need to move out of your parents' house, you want to be, well enough off to retire. I remember having a conversation with one of my employees, like, how do you know when you have made it in life? His response was like, I'll know that when I've made it when I can afford to get a massage like once a month or something. That's not a stretch, right? So financially, like that's always been, the motivation. But I would say it did change, to your point. And I don't know exactly at the point that it changed, but really, I think later on in my career, as I became a leader, honestly, the goal for success for me now is, I mean, it's a little more elusive. There's not a number associated with it, but I want to make a difference. I think there are things that I can do as a human being because of my background, because of all of my life experiences, where I can make a difference in that unique, like George way that only George can do. I think that's now what drives me is to, now that I've found, I guess, a purpose. It's really, living that out and making a difference.
And you kind of alluded to that right before we clicked the record button on coming on to podcasts like this, being able to share your experiences. This really resonates because I feel when I was early in my career, I didn't care about, for me, it wasn't money early on. It was about experience. So I would work for free just to get experience so I can get the next job. And then it was about the money. Can't lie about that. It was strictly about the money. And now it's come to another point where it's not about the money anymore. It's about being able to make a difference, because that's what, like, when you go to sleep at night and you feel like you're actually making impact to the world, it's like, whew, that there's no dollar amount that you could put to that.
I think one of my favorite books, right? I do a lot of writing, and but I also read quite a bit. My favorite book in the entire universe is Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. If you haven't heard of it before, he was a psychologist. He was Jewish. He was put in the concentration camps during World War II, and of course they burned all of his notes for the book that he was going to write. So he wrote this book like kind of fragmented from the notes he had taken, but he started from scratch, and thought about how the difference between people who died who gave up because of hopelessness, what kept him going was he needed to write that book. He needed that work. And I mean, I get chills still thinking about it, because purpose drives so much of what we do in our lives, and finding that is a huge challenge just to begin with. But then living that out, I think, it really does, make all the difference in the world.
Yeah. I know. I love that. So what I'm hearing is like success may not be, for some people it's a massage, for others it could be money. And then for you, it's just success is finding your purpose and your each one of your roles that you're living in and day out.
So one of the amazing things that I got to do, since I work in higher education, I do cyber by day, but I got to teach our intro to cyber course at SMU in Dallas. And I thought it was just I like teaching. I have always liked that in theory, but honestly, the best day of my career was 2015, when one of my kids came into my office for office hours, and they didn't really even have any questions. They just said, they came in and they said, you know what, Professor Finney, I'm going to go into a career in cybersecurity because of your course. That was it for me. Like, nothing. I mean, IT and a lot of jobs are kind of thankless, for whatever reason. But I mean, I felt like I had made a difference in that moment, more so than anything that I've ever done.
And you bring up a big point, because when I talk to people about purpose, it seems like such a big, arduous thing. And how do I make impact on something that's so big? But what you're saying is it's not about, it's one person. It's one life, right?
Yeah.
And that alone is meaningful. And I think that we forget that you can actually drive purpose every single day, and make impact every single day in the small things that we do.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, I needed this conversation more than you know right now, George. You have no idea. This is like, I'm holding back. I'm very emotional right now. I needed this conversation more than you know. So you made impact today.
Yes, you did.
Oh my gosh! Well, thank you for that. That is amazing, and again, that helps me get through my day. So I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, I think we're gonna stop this recording. This was a perfect nugget of a conversation, and hopefully, when we post this on LinkedIn, we'll make impact on a few more lives.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for having me.
Thanks, George. Thanks for hanging out with us on Humans of Tech.
Subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, or LinkedIn, and join the conversation.
Oh, and don't forget, you can now shop our store. Check the link on the show notes.